Hey, I'm Dagny. In this video, I need to talk to you about the movie Antebellum. Now, disclaimer. All right. Now, disclaimer, this video has spoilers. So if you have not watched the movie yet and you don't want to know what happens or why certain things are in it, please pause this video, bookmark it, go watch the movie, and then come back. I'll give you a moment. Okay, are you good? Okay, so I watched the movie Antebellum, and the concept for the story was pretty neat and pretty creepy. The execution of that concept, how they chose to illustrate it, could have been better. The overall concept in the movie is that Black people who are successful and are making a point of speaking to Black folks publicly, like community publicly, on freedom, reparations, integration, inclusion, and all of that, are deemed to be a threat. So they are kidnapped and taken to a fake plantation where they are treated as they are enslaved. First part that's supposed to set the stage for the story, right? You have the plantation scene, and then you have her at home with her family, and then she's at this conference. That is how the story is set. Because then after that, for the rest of the movie, you're basically only at the fake plantation, and she's, there's only like two other people there actually speak to her, even though there's other people there who were kidnapped, but they don't say anything. Like they're just there. This is why I felt this was so empty, because it's like, wait, what, why, how did you get there? There's just too many questions. Like, who kidnapped you? What is their point? Like, why? They never explain. So here's how I feel it could have been better. It would have been more beneficial of, it's a scene of either, okay, fine, you were just punished because you tried to run away. Either have it where, they are looking confused and ask each other, how did you get here? How did we get here? Where are we? What is going on? This so cannot be real, like that sort of thing. Then jump back to who our main character was before she was kidnapped. You can't, and I feel like doing it just the day she was kidnapped is only okay if you pack the day with much more, which I feel is what caused this to be empty. So instead, why don't we could have rewind to a whole week before she got kidnapped, right? So we can see, one, I want to see what is her relationship with her family? What is her relationship with her husband? What does her husband do for a living? We don't even know. What's the relationship with her daughter? Does her daughter go to school? What is the school like? What's the neighborhood you're living in like? How did you get there? Do you like it? What is your job? You have this book. Are you a professor? Are you a talking head contributor to a talk show? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you juggling all three at the same time? What is that? Who are your friends? Remember, we had two friends in the movie. That's fine. So let's see them throughout your life, throughout this whole week. Why are they your friends? What do you guys normally talk about? How did you guys meet? What is your relationship with them? Do you actually like them, or you just tolerate them because you complain about them to your husband when you come home? Or do you actually like them and you complain about your husband to them because you don't really like him? Like, what are those dynamics? And as you are going through your day to day, which again, it doesn't have to be the full 24-hour cycle, but we were getting snippets of her life for that whole week. And throughout that time, all right, because kidnapping is the focal, right, is the focal point of the story. So what will be really cool is that throughout that time, you have that it's splashed all over the news that another large group of Black women have gone missing. Black girls and Black women have gone missing in the area, and the police are asking for anybody who has information to please, report it to this number or this email address, blah, 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 because doing all that we can do. And we have our main character taking notice of that on her phone, on TV, Her friend brings it up when they meet for coffee. You know, her yoga instructor brings it up right before or right after their session, that sort of thing. And you see our character being disturbed by it, you know? At the dinner table or something, her and her husband are speaking on, yeah, it's so terrible how there's another group of women another group of Black women who have gone missing. And that's where you can touch on real life of, isn't it so disappointing because in America, there is a ridiculous amount of Black women and Black girls gone missing who no one has found. And from the outside looking in, looks like nobody is looking for them and no one knows where they went. Like that in itself could get the ball rolling of like, oh, maybe this is foreshadowing that kidnapping will occur at some point in time. Then have either behind the scenes of her if she's a professor at the university, or behind the scenes of her being a pundit in a TV studio where she speaks her stuff and where she speaks her mind, speaks her opinion, and either a reporter, a professor, an assistant, some random person who is not Black, make some sort of statement along the lines of something like they miss the days when Black people were not allowed to speak, or, you know, something like that, which she would have heard and either told them off or just took note of it and had an attitude and left, or something like that. There's your other layer of there's kidnapping involved. And it looks like the fact that this Black person is speaking her mind and speaking for her people, there is tension there. Then have a particular, which could be somewhat the villain. There's a white lady in it and she speaks like a Southern belle. Well, you could have her just showing up randomly everywhere our main character goes, right? Just everywhere. She could be in the audience at the conference, in the parking lot at her university, at walking past her door, like that sort of thing. So throughout that week, our main character is like, you know, I feel like someone's watching me. Like she's not telling her husband or her friends, or I feel like someone is watching me. I don't, whatever. And every, as usual, like in all those movies, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're just nervous because of your big conference. So you're just nervous because of this. So you're just being paranoid. It's no big deal. Like, oh my gosh, we're in a public place. It's fine. You know, that sort of thing would have made sense. Now you've already given your audience 3 clues to start connecting the dots before you've done it, right? We understand what sort of character we're dealing with. We understand that kidnapping is happening and it's a problem. We understand that there is tension with what she is doing because people are seeing it as a threat. And there's a racial layer to that. And you have this random white lady practically stalking her and no one's paying attention. So that is how you could have set the scene to get to bring in the suspense. Now for our side characters, she had 2 friends. She has a daughter. She has a husband. The husband we only see in the morning and he seems like a nice guy. We don't know what he does for a living. We don't know why they're together. How do they meet? What's their relationship? We don't know any of that. It'd be cool to know that. She has a Black friend and she has a white friend. We don't know, what does she do for a living? Why are they friends? What is going on in her life? There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. It was that just stereotypical big and horny friend. That was it. And I was like, you have this actress who can really act. And that's all you give her to do? How is this showcasing sisterhood? It feels very much on the surface. It just wasn't, there could have been more there. Could have been more there. And then the other friend, who is a white woman who I believe she also had a panel or something at the conference. And about like trauma from the past or something like that. But you also don't really get a sense of like, oh, so is she an author as well? Like, why are you guys friends? Like, don't get much out of that either. Next, the so-called villains in the movie, who ends up being that lady who kidnaps her, as well as, I guess, the lady's father, who is a senator, who pretends to be a general at the fake slave plantation and routinely rapes our main character. What could have made them seem more creepy and believable is to have them actually have dialogue among themselves. They never really, other than being in character in front of the Black people they kidnapped, you never had a scene of them talking among themselves about what they're doing. So they end up not, to me, I'm like, well, then I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm not feeling the evil. I see the creepiness. I'm not shocked by the creepiness, but I'm not feeling what is your plan? Like, what, you really think no one's going to find these Black, you just assume that no one's going to look for these people? Like, what are you doing? What would have been better is that because they spent so much time at the plantation. So you easily could have had a scene where the senator and the daughter are on their own in some other cabin or something where the people they kidnapped can't hear them. She arguing with the father, saying, I told you we should not have kidnapped this particular person. Like, her face is still all over the news. Her husband is still having a whole search team out for her. They're not going to forget about her. Why would you do that? You're going to mess up everything. And have the father being like, no, this is exactly what we wanted because she is so important. It will get the rest of the Black people to stop believing that they're free, blah, 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 blah. To give the audience a chance to get into the mind of your villain. Like, that's the point of having a villain in a story. Finally, another layer to the character that I was picking up, which I'm not sure if this was deliberate or if I'm looking too much into it, but the way in which the main character was portrayed as a successful Black woman, where, yes, she's living in this beautiful, spacious place in DC, which means, well, obviously they are well off to be able to do that. And they're staying in the presidential suite in a hotel where the conference is. And she has a private yoga instructor in her hotel room to do her yoga session in the morning. And her instructor is white. Before going to the conference, she speaks to her daughter in a very goo goo gaga baby sort of way, even though the daughter is old enough to speak properly, right? Oh, it's okay. Oh, you made this for me, baby. Oh, I love it. And then have the daughter be like, bye, mommy. Are you coming home later, mommy? That sort of vibe felt weird to me. Like, I'm used to seeing that in movies like Leave It to Beaver. Like, I don't understand why it just felt strange. Not saying Black mothers speak only one way to their Black children, but portraying it in that way just felt kind of like, why are we talking like that? Unless it was trying to create this huge contrast between the way she has to speak, the way our main character has to speak on TV in the news, and how she has to speak in the conference compared to how she speaks to her family at home. Is that the contrast they're trying to create? That the Black woman has all these complexities because she has to be all these different characters, or she has to juggle so many characters under the same name in order to be successful? And then am I looking too much into it as to why must the yoga instructor be white? If you're all about integration and inclusion, would not your yoga instructor be Black or Indian? I mean, is her success, again, is it that her success is valued by her proximity to something that's not her? Or are we trying to push her outside of a stereotypical Black woman character that we see on TV? I wonder why they did that. I wonder why they chose to do it like that. I think that it was, for the amount of holes that were in it, I feel it was hyped up more than it needed to be. I totally was rooting for it because, from the trailer, it looks like, it's some other type of suspense thriller. And we have a Black woman as the main character. Like, hey, okay, cool. I thought the actors really did well to play what they were given. I feel it was more the responsibility of the writers and the directors to fill in those gaps and bring out even more to the story, because there is so much more they could have done. Like the plantation part reminded me so much of Octavia Butler's Parables of the Talents, where you do have a group of people being enslaved in their community in a very futuristic time where slavery is not a thing. But in that story, those who were enslaved had to wear this collar that was remote controlled, as opposed to branding or whipping and that sort of thing. And the people there had to figure out a way to escape. Now, in that book, it took them like 2 years to figure out how to escape. In the movie, it's like within 6 weeks, okay, we're going. It just felt like poorly planned. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all get caught right now, because you're not. I was like, yeah, y'all should have taken some notes from Octavia Butler in terms of creating those scenes. And then could have also had a bit of, those movies where you have a character who's obsessed with the main character and they do like all kinds of strange stuff and then ends up kidnapping them. Could have had that as well. There's a scene about lipstick, and then they just drop it, right? At the beginning, the headhunter girl is like, tells our main character, oh, I love your lipstick. It really matches your skin tone. And then later, after the conversation, the main character wipes the lipstick off. Then later, the headhunter sneaks into the main character's hotel room when she's not there and takes the lipstick and steals it and puts it on. So when she's kidnapping her, she says, see, that lipstick looks good on me too. Because the kidnapping and the tension of having a Black person speaking out about freedom and everything, there's a bit of that creepy obsession that we had in the movie Get Out, which you could have played out a little more with the lipstick, since you're now having 2 women going head to head on that, to give in the concept of, in spite of making Black women feel that their skin is ugly and their coloring is ugly, and you know what I'm saying? Like, in spite of all of that, they can wear lipstick that looks good on them. Well, I need to take that lipstick then. You know what I'm saying? Having her take that lipstick to insist that, well, I can wear it too because I'm beautiful too. And so you have this weird, you can further play on this weird obsession of the fact that a Black woman knows she's beautiful is a threat, and I need to take that away from her. So I'm going to steal her lipstick before I kidnap her. Like there's so much more that could have been played around with that, which you could have done by giving us a whole week of her life with this lady stalking her. That is my take on the movie Antebellum. I want to hear from you. Comment below and share with me, have you watched Antebellum? Now remember, I did tell you at the beginning of this video, you should have watched it before watching it, so don't be coming for me about these spoilers. What did you think about the movie? Was I looking too much into some things? Did you see some other things that I missed? Let me know in the comments so we can continue the conversation. Also, if you have not already, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.